There are snarky jokes about lawyers. There are severe phobias about dentists. But I'd rather be billed a caboodle by an attorney or have root canal surgery than face buying a new house. Because realtors, as a profession, strike a dagger of dread deep into my soul. They are the link between a debt with an awful lot of zeros you exchange for a place to live. And they understandably love getting you on that dotted line. For a person who considers the lone credit card in her wallet a cash predator waiting to pounce on a paycheck, except when used in a dire emergency, car rides with a real estate agent are like being stranded in a bramble patch. It's just discomfiting. But the one I enlisted to help me find my new domicile in my new town had a truly positive effect on my life. Without him, I never would have wandered into a diner called Andy's Cafe after a long and discouraging day on the hunt for a new house. I stumbled into this brightly lit diner, plunked down at a table, and then someone gave me the two things I most needed at that very moment, a cup of coffee and a dose of encouragement. That's how I met Denice with a C, though it was a very long time before she told me there was actually no S in her name. And right then and there, after her friendly hiya in Andy's Cafe, my new small town life started to turn a corner. Never without a smile and always with a warm curiosity about everyone, Denice was the first stop on my way to feeling like I had a new home, even though an actual house was proving elusive. Denice in that cafe glowed with cheeriness. As realtors go, I guess the one I had was nice enough, but he was strangely casual and pretty nonverbal. He just drove me around, checking his watch once in a while. When I finally asked him why time was of such essence, he explained that a big game was coming up. This would prove a recurrent theme. Big games here are right up there with milestone birthdays and pay raises for many people. Perhaps unsurprisingly, this realtor's apparently relaxed and somewhat distracted attitude toward house hunting yielded no success whatsoever. I did write up bids on 2 houses. In the first, an oily substance discovered in the yard necessitated special removal, and the owner thought the cost should be added to our purchase price. In the second, an imminent foreclosure of the home prompted me to make an offer a bit below the asking price, but because my husband and I were Californians, that meant we were filled to the gills with money, so we were turned away. Soon I abandoned the hunt, no longer interfering with game days due to an intrusive house search, but I learned all about them nonetheless. It was she who warned me that I could not, under any circumstances, keep telling people that the name of Oregon's biggest football game was a historically insulting term that should, undeniably and immediately, be deep-sixed. I am referring to the Civil War. No, not the one with Abe Lincoln in a divided country, the one between the University of Oregon and Oregon State University. If you are a hermit in a cave on Mount Hood, maybe you are an Oregonian who doesn't know about this serious battle between the ducks and the beavers. And just about every person I've met here is one or the other, duck or beaver. The football rivalry is so intense that when I took a tour of Portland, which included city blocks featuring statues of native wildlife, I was told by the guide that the sculptor took real heat for making the ducks a cluster of waterfowl that outnumber the beavers. I cannot remember if Denice was a duck or a beaver, but whatever it was not the critter favored by her husband and co-owner of the diner, Andy. Their banter about this was like a comedy routine. Denice, who was small without looking petite and spirited without being feisty, was superb in holding public, humorous, entertaining arguments with Andy, and she had the sound effects of the warring animal mascots down cold, from quacks to the chomps of wood-biting teeth. When her team lost, Andy made her sing a silly song for customers. Come to think of it, I think we coaxed one out of her even when her team won. I grew to love those visits to Andy's Cafe. "So how are you?" Denice would call out, and sometimes if her team was doing well, or if she hadn't seen me for a while, she'd do a little bounce, which I grew to think of as Denice's sunshine shuffle. After I'd told Denice about my real estate adventure, she urged me to go online. It seemed like something only tech-savvy millennials would do. But it worked like a charm, and soon I was walking down from our craftsman bungalow to the cafe where Denice and Andy prospered. Then they moved into a larger space. Denice started to look tired at the new restaurant, which seemed more demanding. Then one day she mentioned that the cancer she thought she'd beaten had returned. But she'd triumphed with a remission once before, so she'd do it again. She was sure of it. And so she kept on working, until one day when she didn't. And after a time it became clear to all, to me and all those ducks and beavers she'd enthralled for so long, that Denice was not coming back. At her memorial service I tried to say how much she'd meant, how much she'd be missed, but the words failed me. Because Denice proved that there is no truth at all in the old maxim that everyone is replaceable. I know this now because I knew Denice with a C, who was indispensable, who was no realtor yet helped me find a house, who was no psychic yet helped me find my new future, who was no therapist yet helped me feel better every time I saw her. One of these days, I'll find out whether Denice was a duck or a beaver, and that's the team I'll be rooting for this season. I'm Ann Scheck, and this is one of the lessons I learned from my small town.